So, hey, welcome to My Real Estate Mistakes. I am Chauncey Hilliard.
DeQuincy Edwards.
Yeah, I got to put my shades back on.
Ah, too cool for school.
So, today we're going to talk about what we did for our 30th birthday. So, if anyone who knows us, they probably can kind of say is that we try to always top ourselves. We compete with ourselves. So, we like, what would we want to do for our 30th birthday? Should we take a trip? We like, nah, we take trips all the time.
Yeah.
That's not going to change anything. I said,
a lot.
what do you think if we buy a big property together? And we was like, maybe so. I was like, I see this subdivision for sale. What if we buy this for our 30th birthday? We bought a subdivision. And
Lord, I tell you.
and just to go ahead and give this disclaimer out for everybody that knows that we came up with this idea at CIAA, which is a big
Shout out to HBCU. South Carolina State.
South Carolina State. A&T, even though I never went, but I like A&T a lot. I love their homecoming. Shout out to the Aggies. But that is kind of where we came up with this subdivision idea. Was we were online in the middle of the night because you still got to still do your regular job, but at night that's when you're supposed to actually figure out what your next hustle is going to be.
Exactly.
So we were at CIAA. We was like, it's a subdivision for sale in West Columbia. Let's see if we can buy it. Yep. And that's kind of how it got started. Is that we just was like hoping to dream. So we wrote the offer because we were real estate agents, and we're gonna write it and see what happens.
See, he say we wrote the offer. First of all, you going from flipping a couple of properties to buying a whole community. That's a different kind of step.
It is.
So we technically we was at CIAA, and we just like, why not? Mm-hmm. That's been the same goal we had all the time.
From the first
why not?
flip.
It's already a no already. So why not? We have nothing to lose.
Nothing.
So he wrote the offer, and then he called us and say, we got it. I was like, really? So the subdivision was off of Highway 1 in West Columbia. It was a 4-unit townhouse subdivision, and it had 15, 16 lots.
Yep, at the back.
That was clear, developed. What I mean, developed water, sewer, gas,
permits
always in place to build more townhouses. So we bought that September.
Yeah, but let's put this back. If anybody know what CIAA is right around end of January,
But end of February. 1st of March.
Yeah, the 1st of March is what CIAA is. So when we initially wrote that contract, we didn't have an idea who was going to get financing from.
No pre-approval letter.
No pre-approval letter. But the people accepted the offer. So the only thing we had was the earnest money to put down.
Had earnest money.
And we asked for 120 days for the due diligence.
4 months due diligence.
4 months due diligence.
6 months closed.
Yeah, 6 months closed.
Because we figure by that time, we have figured out a way to get this subdivision. Okay.
Yeah, and the whole basis of it was everyone's 30th birthday year.
Yeah.
So
when we say everyone, we have another partner.
Yeah, our partner.
One of our best friends, John.
Yep.
He was one on this deal.
He's on the deal too. Yep. And so initially the closing date was after John's birthday.
Yes, in
August. And just a disclaimer out, we still went on trips for our birthday that year too.
Yeah, we was in Vegas. Definitely. We were in Vegas for like a week.
Yeah.
A long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only reason why we went to Vegas a long time, let me put this out, even though it doesn't matter. We went so long because the ticket prices were cheaper.
They go from a Tuesday to a Tuesday. It's like it would save us like $300-$400.
Yeah.
And I like first class, so I took that savings.
So on the subdivision, the first 2 months we didn't do absolutely nothing.
Nothing
On it.
Well, first, before you say we had trouble buying the subdivision.
Yeah.
Okay. What happened was Chauncey, good friend, worked at a bank. He financed it for us.
Yep.
But when we had another appraisal, another mistake, they only gave us money to buy the 4 complete units. They didn't give us money to buy the land. So with that saying, we was about $67,000 short by that time.
By the time.
So we had to put 20% down.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, we had need that $60,000-$70,000 that we were short to make this deal complete the normal way.
Mm-hmm.
So this when I say we good to have people who have the same goals as you, take no as not an answer, and figure out a way, because literally we was about to walk away from the deal because it came in the value. Mm-hmm. But then I said, well, I remember me and John talked, and it's like, I don't have any more capital to put into this deal. And I told John, I'm not putting no more capital into this deal, because I got other obligations I got to do besides the subdivision. So I came back and say, well, Chauncey, they want to close just like we want to close. So can they owner finance the shortest from the bank, 5-year owner financing deal? They get paid interest monthly, and we'll take them out between that 5 years.
And see, and what he also that he did before is that what we did was we went and looked and see how much they actually own the property.
Exactly.
So that's how we knew that the money that we were short by was actually their profit versus actually what they owe on it.
Exactly.
So we used that, and that's how we actually went back to them on it. And honestly, we were, by that time, the appraisal came back short 2 or 3 days before closing. So it's not like we had time to actually think about this great idea. But that's when you actually have collaboration with different people on the team, and you know what your your strength and weaknesses are. So I didn't even think about it as an idea. Quincy came back and said, hey, this is the only option that we have.
It's the only thing we have. I said, because I told the agent, I said, hey, do you want to make this deal? Because you don't make money till this close.
Exactly.
You want to make this deal. You want to do another, because they threatened, we got more offers. We want to put it back on the market. I don't care what you just said. This is the only thing we can do. Exactly. We can close tomorrow if y'all take this deal. And they took all our terms.
They did. And initially they came back and they told us no.
Yeah, they did tell us no.
They told us no. And then we thought the deal was off.
Yeah.
So what we did was, you think we canceled our Vegas trip? Nope. No. It was like, let's just get on the plane, and we lost the earnest money, and we're going to go to Vegas. So we went to Vegas, and I think we was in Vegas the second night. And then we saw an email came back, and they said, because I think we didn't even have terms initially.
No, they came back with
They came back with terms, and then we realized that they wanted to play.
Yeah.
So we actually, instead of us accepting their terms, nope. At that time, we knew they wanted to play, that they wanted to sell that property as much as we wanted to buy it. So that's when we started back negotiating.
Yeah.
So we negotiate those terms so that we actually can close on that property. And I think they initially started a very high interest rate. But being that we know that we can negotiate, we actually negotiate those terms. They came up with a happy medium that was good for both of us. And that wasn't just the only issue that happened with that subdivision, is that in between that time, we had a hurricane scare.
Yes.
So our insurance company told us that they were not going to insure it, because when the state goes into state of emergency, insurance companies normally freeze writing policies.
Yep.
So the policy was frozen, and we had 4 units, but we had a property that was about 25% done, was in like framing that was attached to it as well. So we had a total of 6 units, and this property didn't have any windows or anything. So we saying a hurricane is actually approaching this property, that's going to be the first property that goes down.
Yes.
So they kind of threatened us that if we didn't close in that time frame, that they were going to come after us. But that's when a good attorney comes into play.
Exactly.
Our attorney stepped into play and actually made sure that we were covered under there. So getting your team together at that point, this is not like buying your first investment property. This subdivision, we actually had to get good mortgage company, a good actual attorney, get a good CPA involved to know how we're going to structure these deals. And knowing your partners was actually very, very important, because everyone contributed to it. And us doing that, like if Quincy never would have came up with that idea about owner financing, we would have lost the property. But being that he was creative in that aspect of it, it created a whole different game for us. And that's why some people are like, I'm going to do 100% of it by myself. That doesn't work out in every scenario, because when you have right partners, everyone knows what their roles are, and everyone plays their roles, and everyone contributes to the success of the team because you're just as good as your weakest link. And in this case scenario, Quincy was definitely slam dunked that when it comes to the owner finance because no more capital was going personally out of pockets into them, and they accepted that deal.
Yeah.
Getting into that property, so we closed on it. We was happy.
So we went through all that to close the property. So we just came back from Vegas. We closed the property, and we forgot about the property.
Yeah,
because it was that much draining. Like I gotta go back to making some money. I mean, that's good. We're investing, but I need to go back to my regular job, my regular business. You know, and making some money. So we let it sit.
2 months.
About 2 months, right?
2 months. And the reason why we let it sit because we got some money back from the closing. So yeah. So what we did was when we got the money back from the closing, Quincy was our real estate agent.
That's another way. See, when you're licensed in the South Carolina, you can represent yourself or represent. I was representing Chauncey in the transaction. We both licensed real estate, but I was representing them, so we could say 3% off the deal, or 3% can go back into the deal for capital. So, because we know that mortgage was what, $2,700 a month.
It was an expensive mortgage payment.
Yes.
And at that time, even though we had 4 units, you would think that it was actually in the black. But the reason why they were selling because it was in the red. I think we had 2 vacant units.
We found out it wasn't 4 units.
Oh, I forgot about that part.
Yeah. We found out it was 5. One of the complete units was foreclosed on.
Yep.
The other 3, one was vacant, one lady was moving out, and the other people was behind the rent by 2 months. So we had to work through getting.
Yeah, so the rent, and that's rent rolls.
Yes.
So if you buy multifamily or anything like that, what's important to get on the front end is rent rolls. Because
a true rent roll.
A true rent roll, too. Yeah, so you seeing what actually is behind, who's been paying their rent on time, and how long they have been there. Those were the important parts. So the first 2 months, I think we probably, because we had that 3%, so you had that money in that actual account to pay the mortgage. But we realized that 3%, when you have a lot of overhead, it's going to dwindle down very, very, very quickly. So at that time, we had to figure out what exactly we were going to do. At that point are we going to, because initially it was supposed to be a buy and hold, which in real estate terms is that you're going to hold it more than 2 or 3 years.
Exactly.
Typically 5 years or more is a buy and hold versus a buy and flip. So initially we had to figure out how can we get this complex from actually going from the get out of the red and get into the black. At that time, the rent that was actually being paid on that one unit did not cover what the actual overall debt was. So we had to start contributing to the obligations monthly because it wasn't enough money to go around. So we had to be, and that's when we became very creative again. And that's when you have partners that sit down and think about what can we do in order to move this subdivision forward, because right now it's draining money out of pocket, and I don't care what no one says. I don't care how much money you have or how little money you have. When you're losing money every month, you're going to become creative.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we had a property manager collecting rent, and I'm like, we're not getting none of this money. Like, where's the money going? So we had to come up like, either we're going to come up with $900 a month, like another mortgage on this property, a piece for each person, or we're going to figure out how to increase these rents while we can kind of get this thing going.
So we fired the property manager.
We definitely had to fire the property manager.
He was making more money than we were.
Yeah, we definitely was.
Yeah.
And I felt like he was more loyal to his renters than us.
He was. Oh, yeah. And my thing is that when you're coming into something that's already established, you have to really kind of come in there and set the new law that's what's going to be around. Exactly. Because he was loyal to the renters and the previous owners. He had no loyalty to us at all. And in this scenario, we could tell that he wasn't loyal to us because he just basically tell us that we're not sending any money because they haven't sent any money versus giving an explanation on why they didn't send any money to us.
Exactly.
Yep. So in that equation, we had to go in and actually do everything ourselves. And in some scenarios, you may want to hire a new property manager. But at that time, we didn't have the money to hire a property manager because we needed to do the renovations, and that was very important to us.
So back what I'm saying, no money equals more time.
Exactly.
So we had to put more time
into
it. We had to property manage the property ourselves.
Exactly.
And also we met and said, maybe it's time to offload these properties because if we sold the 3, we'll finish the bank loan.
Exactly.
Because we had a bank loan and we had that owner's financing loan too.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how that money was coming out too.
Mm-hmm.
So we were saying if we sell the 3 properties,
Mm-hmm.
then we can clear the bank loan because the bank loan had the biggest mortgage, and we can figure out a way what we're gonna do with the land.
Exactly.
So that was our first goal, is to pay back the bank on their bank loan.
So we renovated.
So we had one good unit in very good shape.
Yep.
So we said this is going to be the star unit. We're going. I think that they just left before we bought it, and we went in there and we did a little bit of repairs.
It's need like carpet and paint.
And
we're talking about these things are about 1,200 square feet. So it was very inexpensive to put carpet and paint in them.
Carpet and paint.
Yep.
And we sold it ourselves.
Yeah, we did. But what the thing is that like we said was we bought this after Labor Day. On the traditional market, around Christmas time, people buying gifts and things for their family. Not
when
buying.
It's cold, not going out to open houses.
Not going to open houses. So nobody's not buying this unit. So we thought this unit was going to sell quickly because it was very inexpensive, fairly new, just renovated. Because we flipping houses. At that time, we probably done flipped 10, 20 houses at the time. Yeah. And we flipped that many. So we're like, oh, this is going to sell just like this right here and there. No sale.
No. It was a 2-bedroom, 2.5 bath townhouse.
Yes.
So it was a unique buyer.
Yep.
That looking for that. So we had it on the market. So we still had to bring money in there. So we think about what can we do. So we went to one of your rental properties, and because you was getting rid of the furniture, you was switching out furniture.
So I am in the Airbnb, but now both of us are in the Airbnb kind of temporary rental space. So what we did at that point there was I had a lot of properties in Columbia initially, which is my home base. It's very convenient for me to run it there. But I was running an Airbnb about a 45-minute drive, which became very hard to manage myself. So I wanted to turn that from a short-term rental to a long-term rental. So we had this house for sale. Let's say B was for sale. But going back to the person that wasn't paying rent in A, we eventually had to evict him and get him out of A. So we didn't change the one that we have for sale into an Airbnb. We actually changed the one that the person moved out into a Airbnb. And the furniture that we had was, I bought all the furniture I went to one day, because I didn't have a lot of money. I went to all the Goodwills, all the Salvation Armory,
Habitat
Humanity, whatever those discount stores was. I had rented a truck from Enterprise and piled all that stuff in there. And I gave my sister a budget because that's all we had. We had $500 budget.
Yep.
And she made it work. So we took that furniture that was in that property, took it to this new property, and initially we were supposed to get $800 a month in rent. Airbnb, you can get a lot more money in rent. So I think we started renting it out for like $1,800 a month.
Yeah, so that's what I was about to say. Reason why we went the Airbnb route because we had to have a unit that gave us the most money at a time because we didn't want to we didn't have enough money to make all the units Airbnb. We had to sell one. We had to wait till somebody leave another one, and then the third one somebody left. So we were selling one, so that had to be the Airbnb one. So we had to think about how can we flip this rent more than once a month because rents in the air is going for $800-900 a month.
Yep.
So like we had an Airbnb background, we said we're just gonna make this a short-term rental. You gotta realize a hotel room costs $100.
Exactly.
If we at $85-90 a night, and you got 2 bedrooms. That's a way
and a kitchen.
And a kitchen.
And it feels like room.
You not feel like you're in a hotel. That's a way. That's real far. And then you had a partner. Then we had our partner John. That's where he came in because he's good with managing and monitoring systems and things. and he ran the Airbnb while we was fixing up and selling the property.
Exactly.
So we turned, instead of getting $800-900, we was turning around profit wise by $1,800.
Exactly.
And that was paying the mortgage. One unit was paying the mortgage.
And 1 unit paid the mortgage.
Till we sold the other one.
Until we sold the other. And the other one didn't sell immediately. I think we turned it into an Airbnb space. So let's put the time frame together. We probably closed September, October.
Yep.
December was when we actually changed. That renter left that wasn't paying their rent, and they were evicted. They left probably around December. We went back in December. Actually, we didn't do any renovations to it. We actually just got it clean and cleaned the carpet.
Yep.
And the person had a pet in the house,
yes.
so we actually had to get a good carpet cleaning guy.
Definitely.
He got rid of the pet smell out of the carpet. And we put the actual furniture that we got from the other unit into that property, and then that's when that property. I think it was rented fairly quickly.
What, the Airbnb?
The Airbnb.
Oh yeah, as soon as we put it out there, that started generating money.
Yeah, so
It generated so much money. We thought about doing a whole subdivision like that.
Oh yeah, Airbnb. Which I'm glad we didn't because we had the solar eclipse that happened, and we made a lot of money off of that. But then that solar eclipse became an issue because then we had a lot more competition.
Yeah, exactly.
So we used that as leverage to actually get it all. So once we sold the first one, the Airbnb one was we sold the first one, then we had the one next to it. Yep.
No, we had the one. Yeah.
We sold 506 first.
We sold 508 first.
So it's all, okay, 508 first, yeah.
And then we actually sold the Airbnb one because it came back to back to back.
It did.
It was like when we got one sold, we got the other two on the contract pretty quickly after.
Mm-hmm.
We got it back so fast. The one that was foreclosed, we talked about earlier, came on the market.
Exactly.
And we got that for the low also.
Yeah, we got that one for the low also. And we did the same scenario that we talked about in the episode is that we just
kept... your first one.
Yeah, on my first one is that we kept sending the same offer over and over and over. And eventually they took it.
And we told the realtor to get this message like, nobody going to want this unit.
Exactly.
We going to be here. We can actually take the unit as is. Mm-hmm. It's because then we had a competitive advantage. We own the HOA.
Exactly.
So we said, hey, if you don't sell us this unit, we're going to start finding you guys because it's messed up our neighborhood.
Mm-hmm. It is. It's a pretty bad unit. Like they had old cars parked out in the front.
Had old cars.
They left it abandoned.
Trash.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Trash everywhere.
Actually, it was hurting our subdivision.
It was. Yeah, it was definitely a bad looking property, and it really definitely did hurt our subdivision. But in between that, I think another thing that we didn't even talk about that we learned about horizontal regime.
Yes.
So
we learned that on the first closing.
Yeah. So
what is that?
Yeah. So selling the first unit, we kind of figure out exactly how to sell it, and when we actually got that first buyer, then we did the Airbnb so that we could generate some more money coming in, so we could actually pay some of the bills, and then we're getting the closing, and we had a red flag that came up.
Final step.
Yeah, the final step. It was a horizontal. Was it vertical or horizontal?
No, it's horizontal regime.
It's a horizontal regime. And us buying our first subdivision, our first mistake, we didn't even know the ask was it a horizontal regime because I didn't even know what it was.
Yeah, we didn't even ask how they set up the subdivision.
Exactly.
And they set up the subdivision as a horizontal regime because it was less rigorous for them to start the subdivision.
Exactly.
Because we was flipping single family homes and stuff like that. We never thought, and they sold it to us as a townhouse.
Exactly.
But when you do the title work and look at the title and the deed description, it has horizontal regime. That means you're buying a condo. So anybody who understands buying a condo is totally different from buying a single family home.
Exactly.
It's different regulations. It's different ways, different steps you have to get through.
And the bank looks at it differently.
And look at it very different because the reason why you're sharing a roof and share a wall with someone. Mm-hmm. So the bank's saying basically they own unit 3, but if unit 4 roof damage get messed up, it might damage their property. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of different kind of insurances you need and different regulations. So we find that out on the 12th hour. Mm-hmm. But luckily, she was conventional.
She was conventional. Exactly.
If she was FHA, they know this. Yeah.